Hey, welcome back to the Cowboys Fan Show, everybody. Tyler Ortega, Scott Jeter here, and we'd like to welcome in our Fan of the Week once again, Adriel Villa. Welcome back.
Thank you, fellas.
So we've got Adriel here, who is well noted. He's been on the trade Dez Bryant bandwagon for how long now? A couple years now?
Not a Dez fan.
Say about 2 years solid now.
About 2 solid years with Adriel. I just want to know how you want to trade Dez Bryant when you come in here dressed and wanting to be like Dez Bryant.
Well, here's what I have to say about the man. I don't remember the last time he was in the conversation.
Look at this. Look at this side by side. Bro, what? You even got the goatee, the beanie, and the chain.
Yeah, well, the man knows how to dress. He looks good. I give it to him. But another thing that I don't really appreciate is when was the last time, let's just say this thus far as in this season, when was the last time he was mentioned as being a top 5, a top 4 receiver? The man is not even mentioned. For all the hype he was kicking up from the day he entered the league to where he is now, I see a down. I don't want to speak too down on him. I see someone who needs a little better practice. He needs practice.
Dez Bryant this week, ladies and gentlemen, just tied the Cowboys franchise lead for touchdown receptions. But he needs more practice. Yes. Let's jump into what went right and what went wrong from this last week against San Francisco. Guys, the first thing we want to talk about is the return of the running game. Zeke Elliott, 147 yards on the ground this last week. Why was the running game so successful?
Well, I'd like to say, shout out to all the 49er fans, but your team is terrible. I mean, if he didn't do that, we would definitely be asking a lot of questions about the offensive coordinator, what kind of plays he's drawing up in the backfield. But he did great, and he needed this. It was about time. I mean, this is the first game he looked like a stud. He looked like he was last year, even better. But I just got to say, not too much props to the Ezekiel Elliott. It was more of a downfall on the defensive coordinator for the 49ers.
Scott?
Yeah, I completely and totally disagree with that one right there. I mean, man, are you kidding me? I don't know. I just watched the highlights, so I just got a little refresher on that. But Jonathan Cooper looked fantastic. It looked like they finally figured out who's going to be starting at left guard. I mean, in my opinion. Right tackle. Lyle Collins looked fantastic as well. I'd have to agree that they had to change up the play calling, but I think that's actually, rather than saying that that's a knock on the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, I think that's got something to say about the fact that he knows he needed to change up some things. He was calling some predictable plays, and what he was trying to do is he was just trying to be dominant against, in the trenches. He was thinking, I'm going to run some simple plays. We're just going to dominate up front, and honestly, it wasn't working out as well it did in previous seasons. So, I mean, in this game, you saw guys pulling out. You saw Witten setting the edge, and we've been playing a lot in the last few weeks with, the extra the 12 personnel, which is, when we got 2 tight ends in the game. That's what Dallas calls their 12 personnel. Not even as much as that now as just guards pulling. Just tried some different things. We showed different looks than we had previously been showing. I don't think the running game ever left, to be completely honest with you. The fact of the matter is our game plan had not been working as well as it had in previous seasons due to the fact that with Sean Lee out of this defense, we're giving up 35 points a game. It's going to force you to have to throw the ball a lot. So we got ahead early. We were able to stay ahead early and show how dominant we still are in the running game. I don't think it ever left.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think it was a phenomenal showing from Ezekiel Elliott. The offensive line, I think, had their best performance of the season to date. I know there were some questions surrounding that offensive line in the last few weeks. Maybe not from Scott here. I was questioning the line 3 weeks ago, but no. But in all seriousness, San Fran. Sure, you can look back and say, well, they're 0-6. They're a bad football team. But like we said, the numbers break it down. Those first 5 games, they lost by a combined 13 points. 13 points to lose 5 games. They're the only team in NFL history to lose 5 straight games by such a close margin. So, yeah, they were close. Yeah, they may not have had the discipline and the execution that they needed to finish those kind of games, but they were no slouches. These guys, they go out there, they earn a paycheck too. They're all a bunch of professional football players. It's not like the Niners pick from this different pool of players that the rest of the NFL does. So I don't want to hear none of that. It was just the Niners. The fact of the matter is all of these guys show up to play on Sundays, and they show out, and they all want to go out there and win. So I think Dallas did just a fantastic job. As far as dominating that game.
Everybody, team effort, everybody played well.
Yeah, and not just the running game now. I want to talk about the pass rush. Guys, we actually have a pass rush. We had a good pass rush all day Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, I was listening to some of the sports pundits on the TV, you know, and a couple of them were ready to just book the Cowboys in the Super Bowl because of that defensive line performance. They're now starting to say that maybe the defensive line is as good as the offensive line of the Cowboys.
I think we got some questions there as far as, you know, I mean, honestly, I've been talking a lot of smack about Tyrone Crawford. For $9 million, I just think he steps up. You know what I mean? And he has been lately. He looked good on the edge. He's holding the contain. This is a different defense with Sean Lee in. Different defense with Sean Lee in. Tyler and I talk about this a lot. We gave up, what, 71 points or something in the last 2 weeks with Sean Lee out?
To the Rams, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting smoked.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers. Nobody else on that team except Aaron Rodgers.
30 yards on the ground, 73 this last week with Sean Lee in there. 5 combined tackles for a loss between him and Hitchens. We're not even talking about the sack fumble by the other linebacker, Jalen Smith. Just a different defense with Sean Lee in there. Really, when you can trust those linebackers to play the type of ball that we know they can when they're healthy. Anthony Hitchens, Sean Lee, Jalen Smith. Man, this D-line, they know what they got to do, and they go and they get after it, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah, you know, we actually had a Taco Charlton sighting on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the same Taco Charlton that Dallas drafted in the first round of this last year's draft. He finally stepped up and made a play. So, Adriel, your thoughts on the defensive line performance on Sunday?
Well, there I can say there's a lot of props given. You can definitely tell when you have Sean Lee out there. Man, the dude is directing tackles. He's directing traffic. He's telling everyone what to do. He's calling the plays. He's calling the right plays. The man is phenomenal. I'm glad he's back on the field. Yeah. Now, as far as being back there in the backfield, you had mentioned that our linebackers were getting back there making those tackles. I'd like to see a lot more of that.
No,
I would like to see. I mean, what did we get? There was 5 of them this last game. We need maybe at least. Let's step it up to 7 or 8. You know, get back there.
It's a tall order.
If we're going to make the comparisons between the offensive line looking like our defense, I mean, let's be real. We have to make that adjustment. If they can do that this upcoming game, I can say that Jason Garrett, it won't be in the hot seat anymore because as of last game, there was questions being raised. I mean, Dallas Cowboys, with the team you have now, there's no way you should not at least win 10 games this year.
Well, and I disagree. I don't think that Garrett's on the hot seat at all. I mean, I think that's something we can talk about. So, I mean, fact of the matter is this D-line looks a lot better because you've got David Irving back, who you didn't have for the first 4 games. Sean Lee was injured for the previous 2 games. Anthony Hitchens was out for the first, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the defensive injuries are they were stacked up, you know, and we were really in a hole. I mean, fact of the matter is 5 tackles for a loss. Those are as good as sacks to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that makes us, close to a 10-sack day for this defense. That's phenomenal.
I agree.
You know, they're killing it when they're healthy. But, I mean, as a coach, I think that Jason Garrett is one of the better guys in the league. I think we've continued to get better every year. This record's not showing it this year, but we got a tough schedule and tons of injuries. I mean, this offense is as explosive as it gets. Fact of the matter is, on this offensive line, 40% of the guys on there are at a new position. I mean, Jonathan Cooper's not, but he's on a new team. Chaz Green, actually, left guard, that's a new position for him. He's normally a tackle. Al Collins is out there playing tackle, which he played in college, but, I mean, you know, last year he was a guard. So there were going to be growing pains on that, and we're still, I mean, over the last 3 games, we put up almost 100 points.
Yeah, that's
an offense, guys.
That in itself
is
pretty telling as far as the Cowboys' execution and everything. So as long as the defense is able to get in there and make some stops, obviously like they did on Sunday, I think this team is going to be all right.
I think so too.
We're going to go ahead and step aside for just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll take your questions from social media. This is the Cowboys Fan Show.